We're in Acts chapter 8. We've made it to Acts chapter 8. And we're not going to be getting too far this morning because there's a lot of things that need to be explained.
Ani atahu adana ma pe mera prenya pute he amadu no ba shiga he nada pe me pameli se na ma pe pano eche to mete na ma sana lo sepia si lo hishoga kya sana ma athulo na li pa kinago.
You'll remember last lesson we talked about Stephen being stoned to death.
Ni si to ma ne ma da ke ta pa na ma pe he ni pe ni da ma ku Stephen no ko he ma ke visa ke en a visa luna logo.
The crowd of people that were preparing to stone Stephen took off their outer garments.
Just the outer one?
Yes, just to free themselves up so they could
Ni
throw
da
stones.
da ki si te he ma o va ku Stephen ko he mi te na si visa luna lona e si pod prayer a pya lo ke a sena a plok lo ma a cha ha cha le ha cha da cloth ko.
And it says that they left their clothes at the feet of a young man.
Ni da a ha cha pya ati a plok lo na ma a de ploba ite prekhu a kshat a prega.
The young man's name was Saul. I'm not sure how to say that in
It might just be Saul.
Saul.
Ni da prekhu the prayer na ma a po me ha cha si na ma amina Saul ko he ku Saul.
This young man later became a believer and changed his name to Palu.
Ani ma ku Saul other prayer na ma te hangi ba ne ma eno atwa ke kripu ko he ba atwa kripu akena a me ko ke amu ke a e ani na da ku palu ko.
Would you play verse 1, chapter 8, verse 1?
It's a long verse, right?
Yes.
Ana ma pe me mani da ba prayer nya put he ma du no ba shi ma pu relut ko ma puti.
Mi si ku Stephen yene ku cho lu su to sia ga seplona premisi ku Stephen de hira akro olia sia ku puna ta tia binu de ni ta pli hiaro kaya de a ode via rushli akura azu inya e yeshu de hinu u me je me junia cho e si cho kaya de a o kia de via rushli aku de hinama tu pre de nya pu de hibre ra lo kaya de azu inya ite te hina atik la chu pre lo plide yuda kina shamarike.
Not only did Saul agree with killing Stephen, but he was one of the men who was a leader.
Ani da ku solu a heluna ku solu na ma en ma da a olia sena na ki si to ko he ma da ite a hina o ite ku Stephen na ma pe mi circle a atni sena ki si to pa na chu to ma en ma thwa da ge ko ko du to pre ju fu ju ko du pre ga.
Notice in this verse that we listened to that believers began to scatter, move out of Jerusalem because of the persecution.
To pa pe singe ne ma ba mi te da ki si na si mi sa na kripu si na ko he kripu si asalo in ne wa esi da ji jomra ngot he to ne kripu si te he na wa akle ke the ke logo sana opa da Jerusalem ku to ga.
Satan was trying to kill the new church.
Mi te ne ma da pisulu no wa asi me pya lo ke asi me tho ke ma da ite esi sra ku ara la to ku ko.
Instead, what happened is that believers went to other places in Israel and they began to preach about Yeshua.
Ani mana da pe ne na kripu si no akle pa ka lo ka pe ne no ko he mana ni ne ma esi kle ke ke no da dora ro si no ha mi te akle te no no ha esi cha to phu no ha I sho no pa ka ni jamre lango ko.
This is what Yeshua had wanted believers to do. Go to other places to preach about Yeshua.
Ni da ba ite arko na mada Yeshua asi methane ne ko heda je ide jurupusi domne kripusi no achat por pome de acha isu alisa senaga.
Yeshua had told believers before he left, he said, you will be speaking about me in Jerusalem and Israel and Samaria and all over the world.
Ba Yeshua ka thela da makutu no ko heba na ke au pa to pana ku biche si te he no ai sholo na au tana ke ba ma shano ma ite da si ite horama da velango chomra lango na ma shushu da ite do Israel to na Jerusalem to ko he tana ke ma si ite chano logo da dora ro si na ba si chai sho loga ma ite ma chomra lango pa ai sholo.
So just as we have seen over and over again in the book of Acts, Satan tried to destroy and God turned it into something good.
Ni ona sana na ona pe meta titi da ite prenya pus he amadu kuno ko he ona pislu no asi mi pya ne da chumre de me ba mona ona sim ami pya shwa no sana chumre ami re shwa lu pu ko.
And it also said in that verse that though the believers began to scatter to other parts, it says that the apostles decided that they would stay in Jerusalem.
Ni na pun ni ho na ma hina da mite mana da de kripusi de no akla the ga batte be ko he da perdunya pusi de he no au ke pa da Jerusalem ku ko.
So they were risking their lives because they thought that was the right thing to do.
Ani me na mite au ke da Jerusalem ku no go asana da esingi na ma asa ke panama asingi me ko he mana da asi she to ko asana da mite asi ishone ne da chomre lango no wa da esingi na ma ka be sa na ma asi she to ko.
Would you play verse 3?
Ana ma pu to
lu he ye de prene aya tu pu me pie me kya kri apre zu e te plom mu pu de he a chu thia ne de hi de me tu de me aku ra a che chu de ro the premo mo pre khu khu de a zu e nya e te te he ro don e sida apoku.
It's funny, I didn't hear the word Saul. Did you?
it did, it got cut off at the beginning.
And notice, Saul was one of the leaders here, going house to house to try to find believers and put them in prison.
Ni ba pe meta ba ana ma kusolu ahena ena ma da jurufu okla du pre ko mete ma ena acha hi ba ide me pu dwalo lo ke shushu ma da ke yemo na ide aji chomra ngut he no.
He thought he was doing God's work.
Atani na da apu ke lo pu dwalo ke kripusi ma da ma amit me pi chomra ngi atani ko.
And then in verse 4 it says that believers scattered to other places and began preaching about Yeshua.
Ani dangi the manama ahina da mite kripusi te hejur pusi te he no a like take a lot of dollar rosi ne he mina cha to da dollar rosi ne ma una ai sho hangi bu da chomle lango ko.
Then we learn about another man, and his name is Philip.
To bana ke na ma pe ni hopu preku amina Philip arikyat ki ko.
This Philip was one of the men who was chosen to distribute food. Remember the problem they had with the food? He was one of those men.
Ma ku Philip na ma ite da ba e na peringa pusi te hino asi ite dega ke yasi she osi ne he mete ke yo ishilu no asi e he pani juru pusi prekusi te he go he ba e pani prekusi te hina ma ku Philip na ma opak banat phoego.
It says he went down to the city of Samaria in Israel.
No mada ku Philip na ma akleda ma do the Israel ku ba ko he do Israel ku mana da adopted out the don ma muna Samaria ko.
Now, Samaria, he went north to Samaria, but it says he went down because Samaria is lower than Jerusalem. It's not as high.
Ni da pe me da ite da sana peka deku sana da posting close cinema minne na ma ite do Samaria na ma auda ite Israel ku ko he na me te do Israel na ma auda shoku asana shoku no ha ahina da lisa se ku na ma ku Philip no auda Israel na ba akle ta shoku asana akle ta shoku da Samaria do ku ai.
So the writer of this book is Luca, and he took time, God takes time to tell us about what happened in this city of Samaria.
Aba lisa to on ma da kuluka ra ko he bana ke mitena enan jumre ma asi shopa ka pe de do Samaria ku na ma thothe me te kretena asi shopa ka pe ko.
Now we have to keep in mind that this book of Acts tells us about the transition, the change from Judaism to the church as it came to be later.
Ni da pe besi nge go ha da pheranya fu te he lisa ato ona ma shope da ide kelu ke jurfu sinma ku chobe me te thoba da te hangye shwana ma esi surakunuma at akot kemilote si kuchu beko kemilote sana ishopi hun kloka.
And so this book explains to us what happened when the gospel went to different groups for the first time.
Meno haba at lisa at ona mai shopi na da ba ide pe lisa at ona ma ide atono to be da ke sida dor ro si adalut huno go heba na kinama esi da esi doku kuruku nama esi ni da asinge na wa esi da atene te klote esi si nge esi te klote na shope go.
The gospel went to the Jews the first time at the day of Pentecost when Peter preached to thousands of people.
Ni ra le tu hu da Israel ku nama esi ni ho na da chomre lango ara le ta na ma ba ite this is Peter. Ma ku Petru ide ahe ibeshu ma jurufusi la lopina go ha si help loss lo in ne na ba ku Petru no ai beshu asi no go bona ke ai be kena ai shu pa da chomre lango go.
Now the gospel is going to a different group.
Mena kun ne na ma da risa se na ma ame cho ha to da ke si da ru to phoe go ha da cho to da do da ru to pho go.
This city is Samaria, but it's a different group, even though it's in Israel.
Ni da uhena esi do Samaria hina ma esi over da ite thake ku ma da Israel thake ku ko ma na da esi na ma asana ki ya khogo de ga.
So let's talk about Samaria.
Mena kun ne na pe he me da Samaria ri ki.
If you remember, regular Jews and Samaritans did not like each other.
Ni da be to man ma da jurfu si te he to na da esi Samaritan at he cinema esi ona kya si ti lu ka sana da ko so chelu to.
As a matter of fact, when Yeshua was traveling to preach in Israel, he made sure that he went through Samaria.
To ba da pe to man ma hina ba ite Yeshu no ha a cho to pu me cho so ma ite lisi sa lang no he bana kina ha ite da do Samaria ku ma asana Yeshu no ma cho to va ke ma ni me ko he mana asi me no ko a Yeshu na singi na be chan no da ite do Samaria ku.
Now the apostles who were with Yeshua and the Samaritans too, they both thought it was strange that Yeshua should go through Samaria.
Ani bana ke da ba Yeshu no a hina da auto da do ide Samaria ku ma ide ve chok no plu da esiklame ku pa a he bana kena da jurfu si te he to mana da Samaria ani ho te he no ma asar atne hu da Yeshu no ma atapalu ke a he no.
Because usually when Judapu people traveled, they would go around Samaria. They didn't like each other.
mete ne ma ba te jurufu si te na ma asicha tu pu no ba abichwa no ba achok le na ma achok to de Samaria do tu pu no go he mana esi mete aku so lu to ache lu to no ha esi na achok le tu pu ne ma achok to ba esi do no ba achok se da ru pu go.
So what is different about Samaria?
Ni mina do Samaria na ma aku mi uti.
Because of disobedience in the northern part of Israel, this is a time when Israel was divided into two areas. And the northern area was very disobedient.
Ima pe to ma ne ma de ke ma jurufu do Israel ku no go he asana khu no pre no go au da aku de pre da le pre sana do no ke okay ke no do no ba na ke na abana ke na go.
And because of this, God allowed that part of Israel to be conquered by an enemy.
Ni da mete dara ro ada khu to do no go he ma esi ma tisu in ni na go mete atisu adu au in ni na ho da chomra lekha asana da anno he ke da ro te hin ba asana da anno he pu lo ke jurufu si the no go da da dog ada khu te hin.
And this enemy took many of the people in Israel captive back to Assyria.
Ni da ba de ma esi cha sha lo ke na ko ma ke he ma sha shu jurufu si da da khu te hin ma esi na ma da Syria ko he mite esi he sha shu lu thoa ke na wa mite jurufu si na wa ale chu ke ne he ma do Assyria no ha apu do in ne da jurufu si no ga ka se esi da Assyria do ku ko.
And this enemy king brought people from other places around Israel. He brought them into the area of Samaria. He took people from other lands and brought them to Samaria. Remember, many of those people in Israel were gone. So he brought these other people in there.
Also, the northern part is Samaria.
Samaria is a place in the northern part of Israel. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Manda esi do Samaria kunuma au order ide jurfusi taki guda kurkia hinu he. Mimete da Syria no ha pu do in ne jurfusi no ha. Asana da esi do da jurfusi do kunuma ke opti ke ko mina mite opti ke no ha da Syria kui de pre no ha he ke esi da rosi do rosi no ba do da rosi be thaki ba da rosi de apu lo ba he do da plo ke esi da do Israel ku no Assyria ku no.
This would make the area of Samaria less, it would make them want to not resist the conquering king so much. It would weaken them.
Ani mete da kuya pre no ha a vigete ne vigete in ne jurpu mete ne ma hina mete jurpu opti ke da esi dogu ne he to ba ke esi da rosi au illa no ha jurpu sinema asana da abeni ninda da kuya le hina go he asina esi be kyashi chep to go.
So now in Samaria, instead of it being all Judapu, it was many foreigners.
Mina kunne na ma da do Israel kuno go he da aku to do no ha kunne na mite jurpu apu no ke in ne jurpu sina ite shushu ma ke yehura o bana ke na ma shushu hu da ke yesi o da do ro sina he o go.
And they brought with them their religion, their idolatry, their worship of idols.
Mite esi au ko di do ro si a he no plo chi lu no ha asana da ite to phana no ha esi ku chobe me te to bar esi chomre ma mo pe na ma esi to phana e he pa la de a he ku chobe de ba no.
And so the religion there in Samaria had become a mixture. It was a mixture religion. It was like the Judapu religion, but also had part idolatry.
Ni me te esi le ku chobe a ko na in ne no ko he ke ko si na in ne na ba esi liquid job be ma asana da athwa ga pa ka ma jurphu liquid job ki to mana da esi au papa hu da esi chomre ma aya yo pa tung ne esi ku job be the da pu pen nei si un ko sin ko.
They believed many of the Old Testament scriptures, but they thought that their religion was better than the Judapu religion.
Ni da mete esi ongnya nya shana ha esi esena da liquid job be ma ak the ko ke lo ne he da liquid job be asing ji na ma te te na ma au pa ka pa da li sa le ku the muna da ite au en ne da se hu da ite esi me ta the le de esi liquid job be ko.
When Yeshua went through Samaria, he met the woman at the well. Do you remember that?
Ni da si to ma we hina da ba issue I had kuno to da do Samaria kuno ko hena I have ko akina method ma da ite promote prayer he method shulu ko.
And Yeshua revealed himself to this woman to be the Messiah that everyone in Israel had been waiting for.
Ni ba primo method shu to issue no ha issue ai show primo na hina ma en ma ve ma da ite si Messiah ai show lun ko asana da ate asi issue na ai show lo applique promote prayer.
The people of Samaria were waiting for Messiah too.
Ni da esi dog to do Samaria na ma esi na asi opo method shu ne da esi bi se shu go da esi Messiah ko.
But as I said, the people of Samaria thought that their religion was better than the Judapu religion.
Muna pe bitoma ko heda esi do iti Judapu Samaria ko do na ma esi te ne na da esi liquid job be na ma arella na da Judapu si te na ai na.
Would you turn to Johann chapter 4? Johann chapter 4 is where Yeshua was speaking to the woman.
Ani da pe mera yo hama dului na ma da muna ke Yeshua be shi na da Samaria promote prega.
Would you play verse 19 and 20?
Remo ye he luna
Sara, mameti sunge tate hona ne ma prepro de pre preklilia shamari puda ni nu te hena ato betia chomriabi so in te me alo manaro si da put hena si hena uto becho betia chomriada vi Jerusalem akuna.
She wanted to talk to Yeshua about the difference between her religion and the Jew religion.
Ni da promote the pre na ma asi be shi na Yeshua na ma ai si be shulu hu da esi liquid job be mete to ne Judapu si liquid job be ma ko akome lu te na si singi ko.
And Yeshua said something very, very important to her.
Ni bona kina wa Yeshua he sho ka salu ma sana pe bit ade pele de dunia at chuka sana do tu chuka.
Would you play verse 22?
Di shamari put hina si chobe chau pena si sanyeta tini dieto manana pe yuda put hina pe chobe chau pena pe sanye ni die mete hera te me siple kanu ha uchada pe yuda pu akleha.
That's a very, very important thing. Yeshua said salvation comes through the Judapu religion.
Ni da pe ni da pun du ma asana pe de da o dunia mete ne ma Yeshua ma hina da te mesi pleka na ma au te va da ite da Yeshua Judapu si na ma au na ba he che ve hina.
In where we're studying in Acts chapter 8, when Philip preached there, many people became believers.
Mi de na da pe da ku Philip na ko he ba na ke ai ite ame iswa chomna langu akina ha hotana akina ke ya thwa in ne da ite kripusi ga.
But something different happened there after they became believers.
Mana ba na ke esi Judapu te na thwa kripu te be go he esena da a thwa ko ka te chu.
Strangely, God did not send the Holy Spirit into their hearts to live.
你的是你那么日个中人我对别个系中人嘛苏系有的嘛但是说的是十不个多个
Instead, the apostles in Jerusalem sent Kupetru and Kuyohan to Samaria to meet with them.
你本mana bana kena da prenga puste hino ha asu he ku petru na ku yo ha na ko esi ete no su chalu da Samaria ku
And it was only after they prayed for the Samaritans, believers, that the Holy Spirit came to live in their body.
ba ite ku petru na ku yo ha he to da Samaria ku na ba bana ke o tu da esi kui he ku chob bepe da ite jur pusingi amada ba kri pusingi na ta bana kina wa da tasa sana wa he o da esi kri pus si plo ko
Now that is different from other believers, because today, whenever we become believers, the Holy Spirit comes to live in us.
ani da asingi na ko ne na pengi mi te na ma kunne atana si na ma kine da pe ji chom la ngwa pe ha kina ma tasa sana ha he o da pe si plo ko
Remember, we are looking at the gospel going to different groups.
mana pe to mana ma da ba ke ba asha ke ba asingi na ma a relut as atu sa the ba hu da ite ji se na wa a chon no to da ke si da do ra ru si ha ko
And apparently, one of the important reasons why God did this, withheld the Holy Spirit, is to teach the Samaritans something very important.
ni be to ma ko he me te da ba da Samaria do ku no si the no ha esi ni ma a ji chom ngom te be ko he mana chom no ha asu he ke le da ma ta sa se to me te ne ma asi isalu esi te chuga
And they learned that salvation, as Yeshua said, salvation is of the Jews.
ani asena da ma chom re sho si no ko he da ite ma te misiple kana ma a o tu da ite juru si a wa kina ma ga o da SEC da ta sa ne ma SB ni da du da ma abi had a little bit of juru si o da kya ko
And it was only after the Judapu apostles came to pray for them that they received the Holy Spirit.
ani da ite da ku film na ma he hodra pe esi ma bate be ko he si ji bate be ta sa na ora si plo to mi te ma ku film na ma en ma da juru ma to ko ba juru ku petru na ku yo ha esi juru si na pennya pusi si na he ku chobe pe esi ba na ke tu ma esi da ani da ta sa si plo ko
So it's a very different thing that happened with them, and it's because of the very different group that are the Samaritans.
ni me te da esi na ko ne hu da esi be po ta sa se ku no da si plo me te ne ma da esi do hu no ha esi le ku chobe a phesi na ma o shi lu ko
So that information will allow us to finish the chapter and talk about more of this next week.
ni ba ku ne na ma tho ko he pe hi po sha no ta pa
Because a lot of things that we read in this book, we kind of scratch our heads. What does that mean?
me de ma da pe pa da li sa at o ku na ma a hina da o da a hi sho pe na ma si sho ka te sa na da plo to pe hina
Any questions?